On a seemingly ordinary afternoon in November 2019, a 49-year-old man visited the Hunan food market for some seafood. A few days later, he started experiencing fever-like symptoms such as coughing, fatigue, and shortness of breath. Thinking that it was potentially the flu, the middle-aged man visited the hospital for a checkup. In his blood and mucosal sample, the doctors found signs of a novel unidentified respiratory virus. This marked the beginning of the 2020 worldwide pandemic known as COVID-19. Pandemic is defined as an outbreak of a disease that occurs over a wide geographic area and affects an exceptionally high proportion of the population. In the early 1950s, an estimated 50 million cases of smallpox occurred worldwide each year, with a fatality rate of about 30% and an R0 of 5, which is an index of how many people a patient can spread the disease to. Smallpox destroyed the lives of those in the region. Although it is not nearly as lethal or contagious, COVID-19 is becoming a global problem. In China, many cities have been placed under quarantine. Schools and factories are shut down, and in response to heightened levels of panic, the general public is stockpiling necessities such as food, water, and believe it or not, even toilet paper. As the fear-mongering surrounding COVID-19 exponentially increases with the virus itself, it is important to become aware of the various deceptions that are being propagated through the media and in turn influencing the lives of many people. Some headlines reading, U.S. preps for a pandemic as coronavirus claims 6 lives in Washington state. Or, coronavirus, death toll passes 3,000 worldwide as the second person dies in U.S. Or even, WHO says new coronavirus cases outside China are 9 times higher than inside over the last 24 hours. The primary goal of these media outlets when delivering these headlines is not to deliver information, but to instill panic.
$4,089 dead in Spain. 3,087 dead in China. 2,234 dead in Iran.
When demonstrating the global impact of COVID-19, some articles compared the global death rate for the coronavirus to the US death rate for the flu. Through biased comparisons of statistics in different demographics, the media effectively exaggerates the impact of COVID-19, inciting fear and instigating irrational action.
For uninformed readers, these articles may easily trap them into what we call System 1 thinking. Our thought processes and the way we make decisions can be categorized into 2 broad categories, System 1 and System 2. System 1 is quick and automatic, requiring no effort, voluntary control, or conscious thought. This leads to quick acceptance, following of the majority opinion, and uninformed decisions. System 2, on the other hand, requires a more complex form of thought with proper attention to details and appraisal of the situation. Many individuals who have come to trust the media as a reliable source of information may come across such fear-mongering headlines, and thus with System 1 controlling their automatic evaluation, their perception of the situation may be polarized to a more dire outlook. There's been numerous honest efforts to debunk the false presentation of information, but inaccuracies portrayed in the media can overshadow these attempts. Trusted media outlets need to take on their responsibilities as unbiased news sources in order to prevent the unjust instilling of fear into the general population for selfish monetary gains. COVID-19 is dangerous and precautions should be taken. However, the fear-mongering propagated by the media does more harm than good. Getting the population excessively fearful over the virus only caused irrational action that can be detrimental to those trying to stay safe during these times. This was seen through the mass panic buying that ensued during the COVID-19 outbreak. During these times of worry, the exaggeration spread by the media led to significant panic buying,
which depleted the market of necessary resources such as food, hygiene products, and toilet paper. Here we can see the true effects that fear-mongering has, as people were left with the inability to purchase certain necessities. The big question is, why do these individuals think that they need so much toilet paper? What is the rationale behind this? Stephen Taylor, a psychologist specializing in pandemics, provided two important reasons for this. Firstly, images of empty shelves that were spread through the media caused people to panic buy and further fuel the fire by becoming the source of these empty shelves. This creates an endless loop, where empty shelves cause people to buy items, which in turn cause the empty shelves themselves. The second reason was at fault of many organizations, which failed to clearly outline what citizens should do. The Department of Homeland Security states that individuals should stock up on a 2-week supply of food and water and non-prescription drugs. On the other hand, during a U.S. congressional hearing, CDC Director Robert R. Redfield stated that there is no need for any healthy Americans to stock up on any supplies. With unclear and contrasting information being spread by these authoritative bodies, and the spreading of fear by the media, it's no wonder the actions of many turned irrational. Deceptions play a huge role in these irrational responses. To simply put it, the actions of the media can be categorized as lying. Telling the truth falsely with exaggeration is a form of lying. The way the media presented information to the citizens was done in a manner that sparked irrational action and fear. Many headlines referred to the number of deaths without referencing population size or the prior medical state of the deceased individual, all of which is pertinent to understanding the severity of the situation. During this time, it was essential for citizens to be cautious, washing their hands and making sure their facial orifices remained uncontaminated. The response we saw, however, was the shelves of supermarkets being cleared out, leaving some with more products than they could ever need, and little food or hygiene products for many others, which would only make the spreading of the virus worse. On top of this, the mass hysteria led to thefts of masks, gloves, and sanitizers from hospitals, which would soon become full with patients.
We as a society are the most digitally connected as we've ever been, and having a global pandemic in this era means that information on the internet, good and bad, can travel at a very rapid rate, sparking panic and extreme cases of pneumophobia on a global scale. As this virus spread globally, so does hyperpolarized information, fake cures, and malicious myths. While one may not feel like there's much fun to be had during these times, enterprising jokesters on social media platforms are finding little tidbits of humor in the world while others try to make it through. Some may see this as an overly optimistic, deceptive approach to the virus as people downplay its severity and the chaos it's causing to our society. Others, however, have adopted the action of deliberately arousing public fear or alarm about the virus by linking it to an apocalypse of sorts, instilling fear and misconceptions in the people. TikTok, like many other social platforms, has been flooded with videos about COVID-19. With more than 1.5 billion downloads worldwide, TikTok has become an integral part of social sharing atmosphere where people turn for information and entertainment on a daily basis. TikTok can be a useful tool to set the record straight on coronavirus. For instance, the World Health Organization recently created a TikTok account in order to share information about the outbreak amid the news and fear that has flooded the internet. However, the majority of coronavirus content on social media is still diluted with content from teens sharing their own reaction and experiences with the outbreak. Users have created TikTok videos showing how life has changed on college campuses, with multiple celebrities cracking dark jokes about the disease and poking fun at the precautions that many are taking in the face of this pandemic. So the question remains, are we allowed to laugh yet? While psychologists and humorists say that we better, especially when people are trying to find hope in these trying times. Laughter can be the best medicine, they argue, so long as it's within the bound of good taste. And in a crisis like this, not only can it be a powerful coping mechanism by being a symbol of hope, but it could be one of the greatest needs in life. right up there with toilet paper. And if nothing else, TikToks and memes will provide a sense of levity amid these trying times. However, keep in mind that there does exist a kind of a comedy continuum. While humor can helpfully lighten things up, too much laughter can signal a person is trying to escape from reality. There are also questions of taste. No one wants to poke fun at medical misery or death. So actions like these need to be proceeded with caution.
An interesting and unforeseen response to the growing pandemic was the sheer number of people downplaying the severity and spread of COVID-19. In fact, one of the most notable cases was when the President of the United States compared the virus to the common flu. Just 1 week later, workplaces, businesses, and schools began shutting down. This mass response of downplaying the severity of the virus might be an evolutionary survival instinct, a form of self-deception that makes the individual feel safe, when in fact, danger is right around the corner. At a time where people are panicking, stores are being cleared of supplies, and misinformation is being spread in the media, deceiving oneself into believing that there is no rapidly spreading pandemic is a measure that cannot just be attributed to ignorance, but the body's response to reduced stress. Individuals who are veiled to reality by their deceptions need to be educated as to the true state around them. It was previously discussed how the media preyed on people's fears and exaggerated the early information on the virus. It's no wonder people took to reducing their stress by lying to themselves. Truth and evidence are of utmost importance. The value they hold is unparalleled because it is much harder to ignore and disprove the facts. During times like these, panic is an inappropriate response, but the other extreme is just as much of a danger. While those experiencing self-deceptions might feel safe and have reduced anxiety levels, taking no precautions such as sanitary measures is dangerous during these times.
The truth is, deceptions are all around us, and the reality is we are not great at identifying them. It is, however, important to be mindful and identify areas where these deceptions may be present. The media is known for propagating fear and being a source of fear-mongering. It is important to get your information from primary sources such as doctors and not simply from the headlines of news articles. For example, if you read that there have been increasing deaths, it is important to understand the population demographic that is being affected, as this provides a more precise understanding of impact. Furthermore, it is important to gather information about your specific area, as different countries have different restrictions or guidelines in place to deal with the virus. It is also important to be aware of System 1 and System 2 frameworks for thinking. While it's quick and convenient to automatically accept information that comes your way, it is essential to sometimes take a moment, sit, and critically analyze this information. Force your System 2 to activate and put it to work. Additionally, the media is prone to exaggerating or twisting facts to keep you hooked on their information. Exaggeration is a form of lying, so it is important to not let falsified information influence your action to irrational extents. Self-deceptions are probably the most dangerous and hardest to notice because you are convincing yourself of something that isn't true. Always try to consider both sides of the argument with an unbiased viewpoint and make your decision from there. That way, it is harder for your view to be polarized by self-deceptions.
The COVID-19 pandemic is one of many situations where one can apply the knowledge learned in the readings to explore and understand the many different perspectives that are presented in this complex world. In addition to increasing our comprehension of the behavior and actions of people around us, the application of such knowledge may also prove to be a useful tool in effectively detecting deceptions in ourselves and in others. A recurring topic in our course is the topic of cynicism. During these times, it is easier than ever to become cynical and begin falling into the trap of mistrusting all those around you and any information that is presented to you. I hope this video has encouraged you to become more critical with the information you are presented, but not to the extent where you are unreasonably doubting all that comes your way. Deceptions are around us, and there is simply no way to shield yourself from being deceived. Therefore, live your life being mindful, curious, and analytical, but not cynical.